Okay, hello my sexy Dexter fans. First of all, before I forget to say this, so I just watched Dexter Season 7, Episode 4, Run, and I have been inspired to write Showtime a letter. And in this letter, I'm going to say, Dear Showtime, why do you destroy my life and my soul and the entirety of my being with such a beautiful fucking show? Pardon my French, but oh my Lanta, that was, okay, you can debate me on this, it's cool, whatever, but this is the absolute best episode of the entire season so far, hands down. I'm still like, okay, you probably can't see it, but like, I'm legitimately still, I am still shaking from that episode. I laughed, I cried, I screamed, I just about urinated all over myself over the process of this like 55-minute period watching premium cable, okay? I don't even know where to begin. This episode was wildly, just emotionally electrifying and riveting, and everything is just coming together, and you know, I was angry and euphoric, and oh my gosh, just the humor and the aggression, and seeing all these different sides of Dexter and Deborah and Ray Stevenson's character, Isaac, and just every single piece. I mean, wow, I was completely and utterly blown away. So, spoilers, before I forget to mention that in the midst of my, like, nerdgasming over this show, okay? And I am a little bit sick, so pardon the man voice, and I'm also kind of, like, wiggly, so if I'm just, like, moving around and, like, contorting myself, then don't be mad, don't be mad. I'm just way too excited, and if I get a little bit Italian and I'm talking with my hands, I can't help it, because Showtime ruined my life in the best way possible. So I'm gonna go through this out of order, just gonna go through my emotional responses to this episode. So, wow, okay, can I just say that in this episode, Dexter was perhaps arguably the most emotional that we've ever seen him, aside from when he had to kill his brother in season 1. You know, that was a very different kind of output from him, and he was crying in that process, completely and utterly understandable. But just watching Dexter's face and his reactions to people, watching the way that he watched Deborah, the way that he looked at Hannah Mckay even, just in this entire process, all the intricacies of his emotions and the way that he's responding and speaking comes from a place of genuine emotion. This whole, I'm a monster, I can't feel anything, like, I don't think he's gonna get to a point in time where he's not even gonna be able to believe that himself, you know? It was just absolutely wild, and there's a few lines that really struck me like crazy, just in the midst of the Dexter and Deborah relationship, we see Deborah's anger coming to a fever pitch here. She is angry and she's distrustful, and she hates herself for what she sees in Dexter that she wants to love. She hates herself to the point where she's almost just repulsed by him, and it's so heartbreaking. I mean, like, my stomach literally hurt just with every scene. I had no idea how either of them were going to react, and Dexter was just pursuing her, and you know, Deborah connects the dots about what happened to Rita. She connects her murder not to Dexter's hand, but to his selfishness, and really that is so true. You know, he admitted that to her. He should have killed Trinity the moment that he saw him. Of course, then we wouldn't have had, you know, the badass season 4 that we had, but, you know, he learned that mistake, and he is doing everything to show Deborah that he loves her. In fact, he outright says, without any prompting, you know, she doesn't have to say, I love you, and he says, I love you too. You know, Deborah asks him, are you even capable of love? Did you love Rita? Are you even capable of it? and he just outright says, "I love you," and I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I literally was crying at that part. I just got way too into it, but I was just absolutely astounded at the way that he is trying to reconcile with her. And there's a sort of, he almost has this kind of innocence about him in his desperate longing to make everything okay, and his inability to understand that it's not going to be for a long time, and he's not going to be accepted the way that he hoped. But wow, just the way that they are moving close and pulling apart. I was absolutely livid during the scene when after Deborah had confronted Spaltzer at the funeral of the woman that he had killed, after she went all loco crazy on him, and Batista called Dexter. Dexter went over to see if she was okay. She was like, "Oh, are you just trying to prove that, like, everybody wants someone dead?" And she feels so much guilt. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And the way that Dexter is trying to reach out to her and make her understand that he's not trying to even prove anything. He just wants to have someone to hold on to. And so I was absolutely furious when she just flings open the door for him and just pieces out. But things are reconciled in such a weird, kind of dissonant way in the very ending, and I'll get back to that. Also, we did get to see the dream sequence that was hinted at in some of the previous coming up next on Dexter, you know, the little trailers. We see that Deborah, she passes out in the bathtub. Never a good idea to take a nap in the bath. I'm just saying. I usually would end up like falling underwater, and then I pretty much think I'm dead, which is kind of like the dream that she has. And this dream kind of compounds her deep-rooted feelings towards Dexter with just her guilt and her fears and her realizations about what happened with Rita, you know, with her being in the bathtub and the blood is filling up and it's spilling over the sides, and it's almost like she's kind of having that sleep paralysis. You can see like she can't move, she can just see, and she sees that the blood keeps pouring out of the faucet, and Dexter's standing there in a tuxedo, and he's proposing to her. It's as though she feels implicated in what he does. It's as though in her knowing this deep truth about Dexter, they are married in that, you know, in a kind of metaphorical way. Just the writing is absolutely impeccable in this episode. I just have to say, the way that they've pulled in everything together, and aspects from previous episodes as well, you know, like the theme of the lizard brain and just everything so impeccable. Just absolutely delicious. Yeah, and so that dream sequence is just a crazy combination of a variety of elements that Deborah is struggling with so intensely. So that was just crazy, so crazy. My heart is breaking for those two, and Dexter's talking about how they have lost each other, and he wants to find his way back to her. They need to find their way back together, and you know, kind of these metaphors that play this idea of this journey, and there's this breakage, and they've been propelled away, and he's looking to do whatever he can to restore that, which ultimately even leads him to you know, it's the end of an era. The blood slides are no more. It's absolutely wild. Everything that unfolded with Spaltzer was just absolutely crazy. For one thing, that the chase scene between Spaltzer and Dexter, that was just maddening. It kind of reminded me actually of the game Slender, you know, with the little note that Dexter finds, you know, when he wakes up after he got knocked out by Spaltzer in his trailer. Whoops. That note is like, run. It made me think of Slenderman, you know. But Spaltzer's not so slender. He's kind of built, and he's got a little bit of a thing for his like Viking bull helmet. And Chase, I mean, we knew that Dexter was going to come out, but it was absolutely thrilling to watch Dexter go up against such a formidable opponent, especially in the midst of everything that he has been struggling with in his life. You know, his emotions are built up to the max. And in their ultimate confrontation, when Dexter finally trumps the guy, also that the scene right before Dexter gets him, it was really hard to watch. I felt like I was at a freaking rave. The set design was like just off the charts. I mean, with all the flashing lights and the mannequins, it had such a weird feel, and you knew that it was to create confusion and chaos. Kind of makes me think of the Joker in that way. A little bit different, but you know. And so Dexter finally gets him, and when Spelter comes around and he's like, ah, and then when Dexter starts screaming like a freaking gorilla, I just lost it. I absolutely lost it. It reminded me of in the first episode when he's just wheeling around in the wheelchair waiting for Victor to come around. It's like, there is so much humor that they're incorporating in the midst of all of these dark things that are happening in the show. And yeah, I know, I literally, like, I was laughing so hard that I cried, probably because I had all these other random emotions going on, and I was angry at Deborah, and I just didn't know what to do, and so I was just dead at that point. And that was a really beautifully orchestrated scene with how, you know, Dexter opens up the furnace before Spelter, and he's talking about how, you know, he wants to see his relationship with Deborah like rise from the ashes. And so you think that he's just going to send Spelter, you know, into the furnace. What's done is done. But he, you know, he explains that he is done with his former ritual of remembering his kills and the blood slides, and he's just like, you know, just the memory of the killings are gonna have to be enough. And that is absolutely enormous. And then, of course, he stabs Spelter, and he places the blood slides on Spelter's body, pushes him into the furnace, and you know, you see the look in his eyes, and just how he is right on that edge. I was waiting for a tear, but you know, it was just absolutely intense, so intense. And when Dexter called Deborah, when Dexter called Deborah after that, you know, and he just said straight up, see that smoke? That's Spelter. And Deborah asks, did you do this for me? And, you know, he says no, which completely goes against how he's been this entire episode, how he has been bleeding for Deborah. This entire episode, he has been doing everything that he possibly can, offering to take her for drinks, telling her, you know, like, good luck, go get him, Tiger. Like, he is being the best fucking brother there is. And in this last moment, he's like, no, I didn't do it for you, but how does it make you feel? And Deborah just immediately, you know, she says she's glad. And Dexter's like, you know, that's what makes you human. And see, boom, totally everything comes together. You know, Dexter is finally coming to grips with his own humanity and really is relating himself to Deborah in that way. And I mean, my jaw was dropped that entire scene. Just, it was just so like intimate and perfect, and just kind of dissonant and open. You know, things could really go any way in the future. And also gonna backtrack and talk about some other different character interactions. Sorry about my cough. Yes, but so we got to see a little bit more of Hannah Mckay. We got to see her kind of toying with Dexter a little bit, and then, you know, it's obvious that there is some kind of chemistry between them. You can just see it in the way that that Dexter responds to her. You know, she's talking about how her and Wayne Randall had wanted to, you know, they were gonna leave Alabama and they were gonna go start up a, you know, they're gonna settle down, start up a farm in Argentina, which is actually the title of the 8th episode, which is coming up soon here. 4 more episodes till that. But yeah, and you know, she asked Dexter if he knows like what it's like to, you know, enjoy that thrill of the ride with someone even after everything is long over. And you know, he doesn't put on his usual sort of mask when he's responding to it. He kind of like makes his little faces and intricacies. I'm telling you what, like, details, I am going crazy on them with this season, because I walked into this expecting to be wowed, and I frickin' have been. Thank you very much. Also, Isaac, the plot thickens. You know, he's not your average killer. He has such an intense emotional quality to him. This kind of pathos almost, if I'm using the right term. You know, when he goes to Victor's old apartment and he finds the picture of them and cries, you know, you can see there's a strong emotional side to him as well, which is going to make Dexter and him very formidable opponents as things go on. I'm super stoked on that. Then we did get to see a little bit of Harrison, and Harrison is going away for a little while, but I think it's kind of necessary, especially since, as we saw in the little teaser for the next episode, the Bay Harbor Butcher case is starting to surface at last. Now, we all thought it was going to be coming a little bit sooner, but there's been a lot that's been underway lately, so that is finally coming around. And also, Dexter was sending him away to protect him from Spelter, who's been taken care of, but we're gonna have to see where things go with Dexter and Deb. I'm freaking out, and I know that, you know, people who are probably into the whole Dexter-Deb romance, their radar was probably, like, blaring during that, but I just, you know, whichever angle you come at it from, it's really beautiful and crazy, and I love what the writers are doing with it, so I don't know how long this is going for. I'm probably gonna start, like, coughing ridiculously pretty soon if I continue this vlog, but please let me know your thoughts. If you love this as much as I did, you know, if you were freaking out in the extreme, like code red, emotions, dying, I can't even, you know, just let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think and what you're expecting for what's to come in the future. Also, I have something very cool little shout out to do. One of my fans, Lewis, drew a super awesome portrait of my face. So I'm gonna show that at the end of this video so you can check out his artistry. It was like looking in a mirror, truly. Like, I'm so speechless. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Tumblr, or Twitter. I would love to chat with you guys as I freak out about this episode for the rest of the week and can't function in life. So we shall talk in the comments below and wherever else you would like. Thank you so much for watching this and dealing with my nerdgasms throughout. You guys are the best. Have a marvelous week.